When a baby's really exhibiting those colicky symptoms and they're crying, there are lots of different things that we can try. It's already too late to try to prevent the colicky symptoms from happening. They're already here, and so we need some ways to calm the baby. So there's a number of different techniques that people have used over the years, and some of the ones that we find really useful include things like there's a yoga pose called the tiger in the tree pose, and that consists of putting the palm of the hand onto the baby's chest, a finger and thumb round the neck there onto the jaw, just supporting the jaw, having the wrist onto the baby's abdomen, and then just turning baby over onto the top of the arm and having them upside down. So this is a tiger in a tree, you can see. And the baby can be gently just supported on the arm and rocked backwards and forwards in that position. And sometimes the pressure on their abdomen and that change of scenery almost, and that change of position really helps to soothe a crying baby. Really helps to give the carer or the parent something to do as well that takes the mind off the crying. But it's very useful. Often babies will just quiet down very quickly in that position. The upright hold, where their baby is either held on the knee like this and supported forward or up onto the chest, can be really, really helpful. Having the baby just in your arms, however, but being on a bouncy ball, one of those birthing balls or yoga balls, just able to bounce, because that rocking, bouncing movement can be helpful. Obviously nothing too violent, but just a gentle bouncing can be soothing, and it almost just subdues the baby a little bit so that they can catch their breath and realise that they're not unhappy, they just have been crying because they're crying. We know as well that all grandmas will do this. Any grandma gets a baby and the baby's crying, and we just automatically do this kind of rocking thing. Lots of mothers say that they end up doing that with shopping trolleys later on, just to quiet the shopping trolley, even though there's no baby in it. But we get into the habit of calming and soothing baby just by rocking from side to side. Tried and tested, definitely works. Going up and down the stairs, that can work as well. But if anybody who's looking after the baby is very tired, that shouldn't be happening, because you don't want to be walking up and down the stairs very tired. Living with an unhappy crying baby can be really hard. So one of the most useful tips is to get outside the house. Now, no one would begrudge somebody with a sling or a pram containing a crying baby for going off and having a walk around the park, having a walk around the shops, just going around the block. Sometimes that change of scene and the fresh air is really helpful for the baby and actually stops them crying. But even if the baby is continuing to cry, it can really help your mental health just to be outside and not trapped within the four walls. White noise is really useful. So that shh noise, there's actually a whole program built around the idea of subduing the child into stopping crying. So with swaddling and white noise and sort of slightly overstimulating so that they actually shut down. However, there's lots of information now about keeping the child very arousable, because we know that that reduces the risk of sudden infant death. So we don't actually want the child to be subdued into being quiet. We don't want to be overstimulating them so that they kind of close down a little bit. We do want them to be just on the edges of sleep most of the time. That's what's best for babies neurologically as well in terms of their development. One of the useful things that lots of parents find works for them or for anyone caring for a baby is to have the baby carried around in a sling rather than trying to put them down into a pram and wheel them around. So having some sort of baby carrier or sling where the baby's here in front and not facing outwards but cocooned inside, something that's got good support for the baby's legs as well as its bottom, and good support for its back, and that mum and baby or carer and baby can be looking at each other. And so even if baby is asleep, one of the rules is that the adult should be able to kiss the top of the baby's head, and that's how far they need to be. So get some advice on wearing a sling. Use whatever slings or wraps that people might already have available, but they can be really, really useful as well, because the baby's upright and it's with a human, and that can really stop them from crying. Sometimes people find it's really useful to just go to a dark room away from any stimulation, a quiet room, but equally some babies really like loud music and bright places. And the stories that I've heard over the years about the particular musical tastes that some babies have, quite fascinating. So give whatever works for that family a try. Sometimes the babies really like a warm bath, so the bathing of the babies will be covered in another section, but having the baby in a nice warm bath so that there's water over the abdomen, and maybe trying that yoga pose of the tiger in the tree actually whilst in the water, so the water's coming up to here but the baby's head is clear, just to keep warmth around the baby and to give them that lovely lapping sensation of the water coming up and going down, can be very soothing and just almost soothes them out of crying, so they just relax a little bit and they stop being so upset about whatever's going on with them. Equally, we could try some baby massage, and there's plenty of classes that teach baby massage, so and things that you can see on the internet as well. Some little gentle circling motions or whatever works for that baby.